Hellos, welcome back to another videos, and today we'll be taking a look at top 10 Weatherlight, which is just basically the Weatherlight saga, so yeah. We might see a Karn, but we might not. We're probably not going to see a Karn in this, spoiler alert, but we will see some good cards, and we'll see some pretty interesting ones as well, so stand back. I'm about to show you some cards you have never seen before, but you probably have, because now you're watching this video, and now you're watching it again. Please support me. Alright, anyway, let's just move on. Let's just get this out of the way. Let's just get this quickly done. There wasn't that many broken cards, but there is some interesting ones. There's only one, I think, one really broken card in this. So, yeah, just sit back and relax. This will be an easy list for you guys to take in. Alright, and at number 10 we have Winding Canyons. I just put it in here because of the second ability it has. Until end of turn, you may play creature cards at instant speed, basically. So, yeah, this is just a really powerful effect. And I put this at number 10 because I think more people should play this in Commander, especially if they want to just get a lot of creatures out. Plus, it does give you a mana. It's colorless, though, unfortunately, but it still gives you a mana. And I'd say to those lands, that's pretty good just to put in a deck in itself. I mean, hey, you might want to play your creatures during your opponent's turn. That's actually a great idea. So, like, I put this just for that sake. I didn't put it for any, like, tournament results or anything. And that's basically it. And, yeah, the next one is going to be the same little issue here. And it's at number 9, Mana Web. Yes. And it's an artifact again. And it's 3 costed. And so whenever any land target opponent control is tapped for mana, tap all lands he or she controls that can produce mana. So basically, this locks an opponent out from basically saving mana. They have to use that mana that turn. They cannot leave anything open. It is tapped down. So it's kind of like a prison card, and I don't know why this doesn't see play or sideboarded in any certain, deck. And I think this should see play in Vintage, but unfortunately, there's Forces of Wills, there's Days, so there's no real point to put Mana Web in a sideboard for counter decks. Now, where I could see this being played is probably like lands decks. Lands decks would probably have a hard time with this card because it'll just tap down all their lands that do stuff, like Maze of Ith. It's a really good card for that if you really don't want to be annoyed by that. So yeah, Mana Web is just really, really good for that. Oh wait, but it says if it can produce mana. Oh wait, never mind. Oh, this card is actually kind of garbage, but still, it prevents counters. That's all that matters. And yeah, number 8 is going to be a really interesting one. I don't know why people don't put this in their deck, but it's Peacekeeper, and it's 2 and a white for just a Peacekeeper boy. And you gotta pay an upkeep cost of 2, but that's fine because you get the added benefit of creatures cannot attack. So yeah, this is a pretty powerful effect. It basically says, alright, no one's getting out of this until this thing is dealt with. Basically, that's what it's trying to say, but it is 1/1, so you can kill it with almost anything. Sneezing on it kills it, freaking shocking a deck kills it. Even a Shivan Meteor, it blasts it out of existence. So why did I put this card on the list? Well, there's some decks that really like Hate Bears, and there's like Gadok Teeg decks and Commander that would love this card. Or decks in particular like Hate Bears, like Kataki. Kataki would actually like this as well. I actually play that, by the way, and it's a Hate Bear styled Commander, and I play it in competitive EDH. And people hate me for that because I shut down their metagame crap and stuff with these Hate Bears. Because I basically run a Death and Taxes type of deck. And yeah, it's just really annoying creature. If they don't get rid of this, this is going to haunt them in their dreams. And I don't know how this dude is making it so that no one can attack, but he is putting down the law. I guess that's what white creatures do, to be fair. So yeah, I credit him for that. Alright, and then number 7, we're going to go into more like where it's more necessary, like staples and stuff. We have Mindstone. Probably have seen this on MTG Arena playing Historic. So it's a 2-cost artifact with add 1 colorless to your mana pool. What's so powerful about this? Well, you can tap it for one, sacrifice it, and draw a card. So it replaces itself. So let's say you're basically having a bad time with your hand right now and you don't have any steam. This can help you get to that on top of being able to replace itself, and that makes for a really good mana rock for 2. This is probably one of my most favorite artifacts of all time. I put it in almost every commander deck. I say almost because sometimes I don't really need this as a mana rock. It just depends on how expensive the commander is, but usually I put this in. It's just so freaking powerful. I mean, yeah, it's just you get half of your mana's worth out of it. It's like 2 mana for that. Just really good. It's honestly a solid card, and people should really put this into any of their commander decks, and it's just really, really nice. Really, really nice pickup for that. Alright, and then let's move on to basically what competitive boys like to play, I'm talking to you nerds. But yeah, all these competitive players play this. So at number 10, or no, number 10, number 6, we have Ancestral Knowledge for 1 and a blue. It has a cumulative upkeep of 1, but when Ancestral Knowledge comes into play, look at the top 10 cards of your library, remove any number of cards from among them from the game, and put the rest back on top of your library in any order. So why is this powerful, you might ask? Well, in the olden ages of Magic, there were a lot of combo decks. And there were some combo decks that really like to dig for stuff. So what would help them with that? Well, Ancestral Knowledge, because you looked at 10 freaking cards. That's right, 10 of them. And basically what you could do with those 10 cards is find your combo pieces. Now, a lot of decks in the day, this was kind of like not much of a staple, but somewhat of a staple for combo decks to really dig for their pieces. And they would use Ancestral Knowledge maybe even only once or twice just to see what's on top. And if they didn't like it, if it leaves play, shuffle your library. No big freaking deal. It's just, I think, this card lost its light when, combo decks weren't really dominant. It was all about, when it advanced further into Vintage, it was all about artifacts. It wasn't about combos and stuff. So this doesn't see play anymore because of that reason, but I do put it on this list because it is a good understanding of how important card advantage cards basically. It's basically like kind of like, it's not like broken like Ponder, but it's kind of like freaking soothsaying, in that sense. So it's kind of like a Sensei's Divining Top on crack, but that card is banned in Modern, so maybe not that broken, but still, it saw play, a bunch of combo decks, and I put it on this list just for that reason. Honestly, it doesn't see play anymore, but maybe it should, because there's going to be some combo decks somewhere. Gotta put this in. And at number 5, we have Aura of Silence. This is more of a sideboard card, but also does see main deck play in some stacks decks in Legacy. And this just hits on artifacts and enchantments. And hey, if you don't need it, you can sacrifice it and destroy another artifact or enchantment. So pretty nice. This card still sees play in a bunch of decks in Legacy. Even Death and Taxes might sideboard it in. I haven't seen too much of Death and Taxes though. But this would be a good sideboard card for them, and I have seen them in some sideboards, even in main deck. Because sometimes you never know, you might see an enchantment deck like Omnitel combo decks. And you could just use it to destroy their Omniscience. Because that card is freaking broken. So yeah, this really is really a solid card. It even sees play in EDH. Just to shut down a bunch of artifacts and enchantments. Pretty much the hardest things to get rid of. Make them cost more, boy. So yeah, it's a really solid card. Still sees play, and that's why I put it at number 5 on this list. Just really solid. And this dude's like afraid of what's about to come. Like in this artwork, look at this artwork. Like he's just like scared of what does this orb hold? I don't even know if it's an egg, it's an orb. I don't know what he's holding in his hands. Whatever it is, he doesn't like it. Might be because he's got a ball in his hand. I don't know. He just looks kind of weird too. And at number 4, we have Gemstone Mine, probably a recent card that's seen play in a lot of Amulet Titan decks. So basically, this is just a land that comes in with 3 mining counters, and you remove 1, tap it, and add 1 mana of any color. Any color. So yeah, this sees play in Amulet Titan decks because it just adds a benefit of 1 mana of any color. Because what you can use this for is sometimes you might have a Tolarian, I don't know what it's called, like, it's basically a transmute land. Sometimes you need that blue mana, so this actually helps you fix that, basically. What you can do with the mana is pay the transmute cost and get Pact of Negation. Because sometimes, if they blow up your Titan, you're pretty much on shit creek. So what they would do is they would play the transmute cost of the Teleria West. I think it was called Teleria West, and they would get Pact of Negation. So this card helps with that. And there's also a bunch of other cards like Growth Spiral they might need blue mana for, because sometimes Amulet Titan likes to splash blue for some instances of that. And it's just a really solid card to have because it just fixes your mana for, short amount of time, because once all the 3 mining counters are gone, you gotta sacrifice it. So it's just a solid card, just temporary mana, but that temporary mana is good because sometimes you don't need to play your islands in your, it's more like, it's just a splash of blue. You don't need to play that many islands. So just run these. It's temporary mana, and sometimes, hey, sometimes you just don't necessarily need it. So tap it for green sometimes. You're desperate on lands, just tap it for green. No big freaking deal. So yeah, this still sees play in Amulet Titan decks, and I don't see this, anywhere else. Maybe humans, but humans in Vintage. Oh, I'm gonna try that. We're gonna get to that video at one point in time. So yeah, it's just a really solid card. Really solid. I don't know how solid you can get. You can get solid Snake. It's showtime. Alright, enough with the goofiness. So we're going to move on to number 3. And number 3, you guys are going to hate this card, but I love this card. And it's Nullrod. And it's played in Golo Stacks decks, and you'll see why. It's a sideboard against them. So yeah, it hates on like Golo Stacks or like anything in Vintage with artifacts and stuff. Because sometimes you'll just be playing out, I don't know, elves. So yeah. Nullrod's a 2-cost artifact. Players cannot play any artifacts abilities requiring an activation cost. So this is errata to say players can't activate artifacts, basically. It's a Stony Silence. And it's probably even a better Stony Silence because it can go in any deck. So this still sees play in Vintage, and I don't think it sees play in Legacy because I don't think they go back that far, but it does see play in Vintage and sideboards. And this is just to negate Bomberman strategies or any like Ravager shops. It just shuts those right the fuck down and says, hey, if I can't play artifacts, you can't either. That's basically what this dude is trying to do to you. You could think of this as a two-way shotgun, because look, there's one end of the stick has the blasting, and we don't know what the other hand has. He could just be throwing that motherfucker like across the sea. We don't know what he's gonna do with it. It might shoot on the other end too. See, so it affects both parties. So this says players, so not just your opponent is affected. You are affected too. That's why most people play Collector Oof in most cases, and sometimes they even mainboard them because yeah, Vintage is that broken on artifacts. So. And that affects your opponents, but it's a creature to be fair, so it can be easily removed. So yeah, it's just really solid. It still sees play, Golo stacks this if they need it, if they're really desperate for it, to play this card. But it shuts down their deck too, so sometimes they don't like to play it. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So at number 2, it's another sideboard card because you guys are thinking, wow, this freaking list sucks. There is all sideboard cards, but sideboard cards are really important in these type of environments. And we'll be taking a look at our number 2 card, which is Serenity for 1 and a white. And why might this be good, you might ask? Well, it's an enchantment first off, and during your upkeep, bury all artifacts and enchantments. So, yeah, with Null Rod, there's the problem, well, they can just blow it up. You know, at some point in time in the game, they're just going to blow it up to hell because they probably sideboarded in, I don't know, like Shatter or something. And yeah, it's gone. Your plan failed. With this guarantees that they just don't have a way to come back. But this does affect you, however, though, and then this goes away, of course, because it buries all artifacts and enchantments, including this one. So yeah, this is only a one-time use thing, but it's damn worth it, because sometimes you just need to get rid of the artifacts. You know, Bomberman relies on them being sacked, sure, but like you can get rid of the majority of their mana rocks as well, like the Mox and stuff. So yeah, this could be a really effective card against those decks. And hey, enchantments show up too. Sometimes there might be an annoying enchantment, like Omniscience. God, I'm talking about this card a lot. But yeah, Omniscience can show up. You never know. So yeah, just a really solid card. It sees play in just every sideboard imaginable in Vintage because of that reason. And yes, there's stacks decks, there's all these types of different decks. So playing Serenity is really good because you can shut down those type of effects. While also making you, you know, not really affected that much because you could just rebuild, you know. It's during your upkeep, not your opponent's, you know. Your opponent doesn't have the opportunity to rebuild. You can have the opportunity to rebuild, not them. Which is why this card sees more play in sideboards because of that reason. And because it just is just a really powerful card in general. You just wipe away everything. And I swear, I thought this card was like, the artwork just looked like so like Tron based, because look at that artwork. It looks like a dude in freaking heaven. Like, goddamn, this card just ascends it. I don't know, but it just looks kind of wacky and weird. I just wanted to include it on the list because it's a really good ass sideboard card. And at number 1, here's the broken degenerate crap I was talking about. Now, you guys probably heard of this card. It is Doomsday for Necropotence mana, which is just triple black. But this triple black is worth it, and you'll see why. So it's a sorcery for search your library and graveyard for 5 cards and exile the rest. So basically, you exile your library, and those 5 cards become basically your library. But the chosen cards on top of your library in any order, you lose half of your life rounded up. So these sees play in a current deck right now in Vintage called Doomsday. Literally, that's the name of the deck, Doomsday, because it either wins with wacky ass shit combos or just the freaking Omen, Thassa's Oracle shit, whatever you call it. I don't even care. Doomsday just helps you basically fix your deck. You do lose half of your life rounded up, but that is worth it for a cost like this. Usually when they cast this, they are going to win the game because either they have a draw spell or they are already prepared to combo off. And I don't know necessarily how the combo works, but basically it either works like either Necropotence, Labman shit. I know that crap in EDH too. But maybe you just want to fix your deck to get a certain a bomb, and the rest be bombs too. That can also be a thing you can do. But in Doomsday Vintage decks, or like I think even in Legacy too, they use this card to win the game pretty much. This is just a game-winning card. Once this resolves, you basically lose the game. There's just no coming back from it. And it's so easy to cast because they run a lot of like dark rituals or cabal rituals just to make it easier. I'm not sure if they do that now. They used to, but yeah, just when they cast, the game's over. You already lost. It's only 3 black mana too. Like that's just really easy to do, and that's why this card is number 1. And yeah, that's pretty much about it, guys. That's all I wanted to show you for the Weatherlight. It was only kind of broken, but not really. And it was kind of a fun set, honestly. I love Mindstone. I love Mindstone. Anyways, that's going to do it for tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day or night. I'll see you guys in the next videos. Bye. and peace.